What a privilege to be here today. Someone keep an eye, please, on the room. We have Pakistan. I was asking the question, what countries are we dialing in from? Sometimes, depending on 50% of the room are from outside countries. So first of all, I want to welcome all of you. For those of you who are new, a huge shout out to all of you. Welcome to GLEAC Industry Talks. We have these monthly, and it's a moment of absolute joy and learning. And right now, our hot topic for the last 6 months has been all things metaverse, NFTs, DAOs. And today, I can't tell you how thrilled I am about our guests today. We have Bob Bodily. Bob, can you give everyone a shout out so they can see you? There you go.
Hello.
So hold on. Here's the thing I have to tell you about Bob that's going to take your breath away. Bob is able to do everything that he does, and I'm telling you, he is pretty amazing with 4 kids. 4 kids under 10. Is that right, Bob?
4 kids under 8.
4 kids under 8. So I think we have like a hero award that needs to go to Bob first. That under all of that, he's running a company. He's able to do this. So Bob, like, you know what? I bow to you wholeheartedly.
I think I'll pass the award to my wife. I think my wife deserves the award instead of me, but yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Definitely. So can I tell you something? Make sure and pass the message along, please.
Yeah.
Please make sure and pass that message along that we honored her today at this event, and certainly those 4 kids. So Bob, everyone, is the Chief Product Officer at Tonic Labs, and Bob came to us from, I'm sure many of you have heard recently, we closed the metaverse round. And part of that round was this incredible group called Wild and West. And Wild and West has talked about Bob, has kept telling us about Bob. And we absolutely knew he was the right person for this. So Bob, without further ado, can I make sure, team, you make Bob, please, a co-host so he can share his presentation. So today, what we're going to do is, we have different formats, guys. So we're going to start off with Bob probably doing a chat for about 20, 30 minutes, really deep diving into utility NFTs. And let me tell you why this is important. For all of you who are mentors in our community, we will be actually launching a GLEAC utility NFT at the end of the quarter. For everybody who is not in our community, I encourage you, by the time the night is up, you need to go sign up to be part of the mentor community. So Bob, let me stop sharing my screen. And if you can please go ahead and start sharing yours. So I'm stopped sharing, and Bob, you're up. The next half an hour to 45 minutes is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So let me just pull up the screen that I want to share. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, can everyone see my screen okay?
Absolutely. We're ready. Get ready, guys. This is going to be good. Good. Let's go.
Okay, so again, really happy to be here. Again, my name is Bob Bodily. I work at Tonic Labs. You can find me on Twitter at Bob Bodily, so feel free to reach out and connect. I'd love to answer questions post-presentation or, connect and discuss all things NFTs. Really, really happy to do that. So to start off, I just wanted to kind of lay a foundation. Some people have kind of a crypto background or a blockchain background, or maybe no background in Web3 at all. So we're going to start at the very beginning. So what is an NFT? NFT stands for non-fungible token. And in its most broadest sense, you could think of an NFT as data stored on the blockchain. So for like maybe an NFT on Ethereum, you have an image that's actually stored on some peer-to-peer file storage system like interplanetary file storage, IPFS, or something like Arweave. And then you have an actual smart contract that lives on the blockchain that handles all of the functionality needed for an NFT, like transferring and other things like that. I'm really going to try to get not too technical here. I'm going to try
Hold
to stay
on,
high.
Bob, you were starting to scare me. I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, so we won't get that technical, but if you do have any, technical skills, I mean, I'm happy to deep dive on the smart contract side whenever you'd like.
Yeah.
So because it's data stored on the blockchain, this could be music, videos, images, even websites or games, or even entire web applications or social media data or personal data or like identity type data. So you could think of passports or driver's licenses or marriage licenses or any kind of identity cards or health records, like anything could be an NFT. Most of these things aren't NFTs right now because storing data on the blockchain is very expensive in the majority of cases. There are a few really good blockchains. I'm really deep on an ecosystem called the Internet Computer Protocol, ICP. It's a blockchain where you can store stuff actually all on chain. So we've done some Wild and West collabs around some NFTs, and we've done some asset storing all on chain. So that's an NFT. You might see NFTs like, pictures of monkeys or apes. Those are the big popular ones. You might see crypto punks, some pixelated punk looking people, or you might see a host of anything else. Images, it's largely images at this point, but people are starting to branch off and do other things. NFTs are like, you could think of an NFT. Well, do I talk about some use cases? Okay, yeah. So why NFTs? Some people think, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of scams. Are NFTs really useful, or are people just trying to make money? And I would answer there are a few core affordances of an NFT as a technology that make it useful to solve business problems, like real world business problems. So yes, there's hype. Yes, there are scams in crypto, and some people don't like that aspect of it. But if you really dig, these are some of the kind of core principles that make NFTs work. So they're unique digital assets. Imagine collecting Pokemon cards or collecting baseball cards. You have a unique card. They didn't print, millions of them. There's a limited amount, and that can make them valuable to collectors. You have digitally verifiable ownership. This is like having an open API. If anyone's familiar with an API, it's a service that lets you call another service. NFTs have this open API because they live on the blockchain. So that means you can call and say, who owns this particular NFT? Like, who owns the GLEAC NFT? Maybe I'm a sister community and I really love the GLEAC community, and I want to show them some love and get them interested in my product. I could airdrop or give them all one of my NFTs, and then I'm kind of targeting and saying, hey, I know you have an awesome community. I want to give you something, and you can just ping the blockchain, figure out who the owners are, and then send them all stuff. Security first on the blockchain. So NFTs inherit all the security properties of the blockchain that they reside on, which is really important. It's not the end all be all of security. If you've seen, there are lots of hacks in crypto right now due to insecure situations. The final core component of NFTs, why they're really good, is ownership transfer. So if you think about like a coupon, if you get a coupon to a restaurant or to a clothing store, it's just a piece of paper, and you can't just like sell it to someone. I mean, you could take a picture of it and try to sell it on eBay or something, but that's not going to work very well. So one really good thing about NFTs is just built into the standard is ownership transfer. And so really easy to transfer owners. So this is kind of, the foundational layer that I wanted to talk about. And now we're going to dive into what are utility NFTs. I have a brand new framework, never been discussed before. You guys are getting the...
Wow. Hold on, Bob. Bob, we're giving you a wow.
In NFT spaces, they would call this alpha. Alpha is like secret news that nobody else knows. So
Wow.
I'm giving you all the alpha.
Can I tell you, like, we feel privileged because you are one of the smartest people out there in this space. So that's super cool.
Do we have any questions before we go on, just kind of base layer, blockchain, NFTs kinds of questions. We're kind of setting the foundation here. So happy to answer any questions, or we can just move on.
Anyone, if you have any questions, if you're shy, you can put it in chat. Any questions so far on uniqueness, digitally verifiable, security chain, ownership transfer? No, we're good. Let's go.
All right, we're good. Either it's a timid group or no one's.
No, they all actually, everyone always talks.
Okay,
but
great.
it takes us a little while to get wound up. So don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't the most applicable stuff to, you know, the things you all will do anyway. All right, here is the framework. So you'll notice a couple different aspects to this framework. You get more utility as you go up. Oh, did we have a question before?
We did. Lorraine raised her hand. Lorraine, let's go.
Yeah, it's just because he said that this may not be so applicable. And I wanted to say, no, yes, it is very applicable because I'm part of an organization and we do certificates of authenticity for works of art for the artists. And I was thinking that I would like to have our certificates of art, we'd like to be able to put them as NFTs. So instead of having to manually do them, to have them as an NFT, and that's so much better for tracking and for provenance for a piece of artwork if it can be done as an NFT. So absolutely. So that's why, and our president of the organization is on. That's Misha Tapin. So maybe we'll be calling you or talking with you after. I don't know.
Yes,
that's
something we definitely would like to do. So this is very applicable.
Very awesome. Good, Lorraine. And Lorraine, guys, and Michelle, I guess, is from Trinidad and Tobago. So shout out to my fellow Caribbean peeps.
Yes.
All right, let's go.
All right. So starting at the very bottom, I have kind of base case utility, and then kind of layered on is generally what people do to add additional utility to their NFTs. And then, the like magic pyramid at the top is like the holy grail of utility NFTs, which isn't seen that much. Like maybe I could count on one hand good examples of transformational NFTs right now. So let me walk you through what these mean, and then we can dive into some examples. So the base case, I think, well, first I'll say every NFT is a utility NFT. It just depends on what utility you're looking to get out of the NFT. So in the most base case, an NFT is generally art or collectible. So you'll see images, you'll see music, you'll see video files, but generally you have art. And that as a base case, in a lot of cases, that's totally fine. Like you can have a really beautiful painting that's minted as an NFT, and that can be it. Like you don't have to continue up the pyramid for just a really good, solid art use case. And so that's kind of the foundational layer, I think, where almost all NFTs have to have some kind of, maybe you don't have to have an art component, but it feels like that's one of the things that draws people in. If I compare like meme coins, like I don't know if anyone's done any kind of crypto trading with like Shiba or Dogecoin or any kind of like meme coins, but they get a lot of traction sometimes. Just a random meme coin will explode in like 100x and a bunch of people will make money. NFTs have the same kind of vibe as meme coins, but there's actually an image you can look at and identify with and connect with. And so it adds like an emotional component. So that's what this art layer does. On top of the art layer is the community belonging. So when you have a group of people with similar interests, you can kind of bind them together with an NFT. So you can have, people all doing similar kinds of things together. I mean, we already have communities like this everywhere. Facebook groups and other groups everywhere with, that are communities that could take advantage of this kind of community belonging. A lot of people use NFTs as their Twitter profile pictures. In fact, NFTs on Ethereum, you can actually have a verified profile picture on Twitter now, where you get a little like hexagon profile picture instead of the circle. And that proves that you own that NFT. And so this is all part of the community belonging aspect of NFTs, where you're showing people, this is my identity, this is who I am. I own these NFTs because it's one way to express my digital identity. So community belonging is next, core foundational layer of what NFTs are trying to do, and definitely adds utility. Again, you don't have to have a community belonging piece. You could just release a one-off piece of art and that's it. But I would argue the case for utility and the NFT becomes stronger as you start to layer on additional things on top. The third one is benefits to holders. So like I mentioned earlier, there's like an open API, anyone can ping it and can get who the holders of these NFTs are. So if you have a really popular NFT collection like Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example, that's kind of the premier, they call it a blue chip NFT. Blue chip meaning, the most legit of all projects. It has the highest floor, the most expensive to get in. They provide a lot of benefits to their holders. So if you're holding a Bored Ape, in fact, if you had bought a single Bored Ape back in like March of last year, then by now, I think you would have somewhere close to $1 million. Not now, because all crypto prices and NFT prices are tanking in the recent months, but they dropped a whole bunch of tokens to their holders. They dropped 2 additional NFTs to their holders, and all of those NFTs are doing really well. And so it's kind of like get in early on an ecosystem and then get further benefits via NFT drops, exclusive access, merch, etc. So that's more like of a tangible kind of benefit for holding NFTs. And I'm layering it on top of art and community belonging, because art and community belonging are more of the foundational aspects of an NFT. And then, you could throw on benefits on top. But if you don't have art, like good art and good community belonging, it kind of feels like an empty promise of sorts if you're just throwing more meaningless tokens at people. So benefits to holders, also important, and lots of people do this. This is probably the most common thing to do to give people, or to give NFTs utility, is to just drop a token and then give people more token that already have the token, and then keep issuing more tokens. So you can do it in a tasteful way, but if you don't do it in a tasteful way, you're just throwing out more tokens onto the market. Okay, the next one is NFTs you can use. So these are like, music files you can actually listen to, or videos you can actually watch, or play to earn games. If you haven't heard of play to earn, basically you have to buy an NFT to play the game. And when you play the game, you earn token for playing the game, and you can then use that token to buy more NFTs. Or you can, cash out and go back to your normal currency. So play to earn games, you have to have NFTs to play the game. Comics, you can say you have to have the NFT in order to read the comic, or other kinds of access tokens where you have to have the NFT. It's like a key card almost, or a membership pass, where you have to have the NFT in order to get access to exclusive channels, or, access to other kinds of things. So this is, layered on top of everything else, where now you can start to take your NFT and use it in the real world. Some collections have done really good in real life events, where they've gotten a space and just totally decked it out, and you have to have an NFT, like they scan your wallet when you go in the door, and you have to have the NFT in order to get into the event. So NFTs you can use, really cool. And then the final piece is a transformational use case. So transformational use case is taking all of the previous layers, but then using NFTs in a way that actually solves a real world problem, in a way that's not just like a copycat. It's like taking the NFT and using its, core foundational affordances on the tech side to solve a problem. So one way, or one transformational use case is education, specifically credentialing. Right now, when you're issued a diploma, it's just a piece of paper. And in order to verify that you actually have a diploma, you have to in some cases, write a letter or submit an email form to the university and say like, hey, I have this thing, I need you to verify. It's just kind of painful. But imagine if you could somehow standardize credentials in a way that now anyone can issue, any valid, university provider can issue these credentials. And now it's as simple as just an API call to query to look at what my education credentials are. So this is a specific example of where, yes, we could have artwork associated with this. We could have community belonging associated with like, I went to this university or I was part of this graduating class. You could have benefits to holders, maybe the 2022 graduating class was really awesome and people want to give them benefits or try to incentivize them to come work with them. But really the transformational use case is how can we use this technology to, solve a problem 10x to 100x better than how it's being solved right now. So those are the transformational use cases. You could also think about like copyright. Some people specifically say that if you own the NFT, you're granted a license to, maybe it's to a book or to a movie or to a video or something like that. So copyright or Creative Commons licenses is really interesting with NFTs. And then you could have, event tickets or proof of attendance. You could do cool things with royalty distributions where you're sharing with artists. And then, other kinds of identity, personal data types. So this is the framework. And yeah, any questions on the framework? Basically, after this, we're going to dive into, I put together a list of like 10 different popular NFT collections, and we're going to analyze them using this utility NFTs framework to see who goes all the way to the top.
So I will add in there, Bob, this is our for those of us who are in L&D in the room, this is our Maslow hierarchy of needs here, guys. With the highest level being self-actualization and self-transcendence, which is your transformational use cases. So for all of the L&D nerds in the room, we recognized it right away, Bob.
Yeah, in fact, I have a background in educational technology. I did a PhD in instructional psychology and technology, so it probably is shining through that I have.
Absolutely. But I love it. I absolutely love it. Any questions, anyone?
Yeah, it's Laurie. Can I jump in, Sally-Ann?
Of course, jump in, Laurie.
Hi, Bob. Just building on what you're both saying, and I think even Lorraine. So the space I'm thinking about is, think about corporate, but that could be SME, entrepreneurs, multinationals, conglomerates, work B2B. And it'll be interesting to take them from, like I've been with them pre-web, then web 1, web 2, now this would be web 3. So have you seen any use cases in the corporate world, as I say, going from startups all the way up to, conglomerates, where they've actually used it? I'm not so interested in the formal education, although clearly that's an application, but more how do you drive that kind of agile teams, work-based learning, where you could maybe create NFTs around IP. Teams could even create their own NFTs around IP that they've created, which should just be best practices. Some of the work Sally-Ann's doing with her mentors could just be, like life skills or soft skills. So have you seen any use cases in that space?
That's a good question. There have been some people that have done things around content and NFTs, specifically in like the creator space. So creators will, whether they're issuing NFTs to give you like exclusive access to their content, or whether they have other kinds of, like with creators, you want to try to fund content creation. So you do kind of an NFT launch, you get in early. It's kind of like social tokens. If you've ever heard of social tokens, like me as a person, like Bob, I could create a token, the Bob Bodily token. And if you think that I'm going to have a promising career or whatever, you could go and buy that token because you think that it's going to appreciate in value over time. That's not exactly what you're talking about, but that is kind of, people doing content NFTs. I've dabbled with content NFTs a little bit, but maybe that's not directly applicable.
Anyway, it'll be a really cool use case. I think it's something we'd like to experiment with. Yeah. Okay, cool. No, that's great.
Yeah,
so this is really useful.
I'd be happy to chat later and just dive deep on it and see.
That'd be cool. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. We have one comment in here before we get going, Bob, from Sahid that said, I would like to know what drives the value of NFT. So maybe through your Maslow hierarchy of needs, and we can answer that for him right now.
Yep. Harris also has a good comment.
Yeah.
He's saying it's just greater fool theory, which if you look at the, I mean, he qualified that for most of them. I would say the majority of the NFT space is speculation and hype, where people are, it's kind of changing now, but the past 2 years or year and a half has definitely been a lot of that, where someone could just put together some kind of generative collection, throw it out, promise the world, make a bunch of money, and disappear, essentially. So lots of that kind of thing going on. And the like hardcore speculation is definitely greater fool theory, I think. But cut through all the hype and you can find, 5 to 10% of projects that actually have real things driving their value. So some of the biggest NFT projects right now are driving value through metaverse type applications, whether it's building a metaverse or having your NFTs being used in a metaverse, or airdropping additional NFTs that are going to be part of the metaverse, or creating some kind of universe of NFTs, which you could view as kind of a next generation gaming universe of sorts. But yeah, generally, I think the things that drive value are the real world applications. So if you have a transformational use case, that's going to drive value because it's solving a problem. It's just like why is any business successful? It's because you've identified a pain point and you can solve it and you can charge for it because the pain point's big enough and your costs are lower than what you make. And so you have a business. I think that's the same kind of thing that's going to drive value for NFTs, is solving a problem that actually matters to people.
I just wanted to mention on here, while I see you have your hand up, but Lori actually owns a Gary V NFT and recently went to one of his community events. What was that like, Lori? Like, do you feel you got the value for what you paid for?
Listen, I flew all the way to Minneapolis, which, no offense to Minneapolis, but I certainly wouldn't have gone there if I wasn't going. So I'll just keep it short, but I just feel like what he stands for, I think people like Sally Ann, people like him, I'm Italian, so there's this word called tiramisu, which is pick me up kind of people. So he's part of the tiramisu tribe. He really uplifts people. So as you said, it's all of the above. There's a community, we got free entry. It's a bonding with my son who's 35 and got me into this. So I'm not going around buying NFTs willy-nilly. He's got about 50, I've got about close to 20, but some of them are $50 collectibles, just, so I don't want to act like I'm a big NFT expert by any means. But I really, I do believe that what he's doing, in that he's spreading a very positive energy. I know that's going to sound so ethereal, but I see Sally nodding her head, but honestly, that's what he's doing. It's very powerful. His energy, I've seen him in London presenting. Anyway, I'll stop there. So he is trying to figure out his NFT utilities furthermore. So honestly, even as a customer, so I'm really into designing companies' customer experience. As his customer, suddenly we got, even the VCon ticket is worth something at some point. The NFT, my NFT series 1, I've just got an upgrade of an NFT series 2 for free, just paying gas. So it really is spreading a lot of good energy, and he's got a lot of positive messages for entrepreneurs. So he's got a very targeted audience. And it was really cool. I must say, the community that was there was no fighting. There was 7,000, 8,000 people. I don't know how many, but if you were in the queue and your credit card wasn't working, the guy next to you would just pay. It's just done, So it was really, honestly, a lot of good energy.
That's kind of awesome. That's kind of awesome, Lori.
That's one story. I can tell you lots. I've just been adopted by certain people, just because I was there, and community really works in his case. Yeah.
Perfect. And while we have one question, and then we'll keep going because we have half an hour and we have another event coming up. So let's go. Weil, question. Weil, are you there? I saw him raise his hand. Okay, let's keep going. Maybe Weil got his question answered. Let's keep going, Bob.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to dive into a few popular
Yes,
NFT.
yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, Weil, let's go. What's the question?
No, I'm fine. It got answered. Thanks.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay, great. Let's keep going, Bob.
All right. So we're going to dive into a few different projects and we're going to analyze them using this framework. And then, ideally at the end, you can all take a task to, think up your own transformational use case for NFTs. All right. If you haven't seen Bored Ape Yacht Club, arguably the most iconic NFT, and definitely the most expensive right now. On the art side, you may or may not like the art, but there is a pretty good variety in the artwork and pretty good quality. I would argue maybe not one of the strongest NFT communities. I mean, they're kind of bound by their ownership of really expensive NFTs, which isn't maybe the driving force to a true community. It's not like they share anything in common other than they were early on NFTs and got a picture of a monkey. So maybe a medium community use case. They do tons of benefits. So NFT and token drops to holders. They provide access to real life events like they just did Ape Fest. I went to NFT NYC last week and they had Ape Fest, but no transformational use cases here. So they, 4 of the 5, they might, they have a metaverse coming out. Like maybe you could say that counts as transformational. I don't know. So that's Bored Ape Yacht Club. I have a number of these. Just wanted to give you kind of a lay of the land. All right, this is another really big project, Pixel Vault. Here's one of their meta heroes. Again, very similar story to Bored Ape Yacht Club. Good quality, high variety in the artwork, solid NFT community. They do regular token drops and then access to kind of real life events. This is a pretty typical story for most what was the word I was going to say? Run-of-the-mill NFT projects are just common projects on Ethereum right now. Ethereum has the biggest NFT ecosystem. So let's go to the next one, Etherworks. Etherworks is a really interesting one because it's part of a play-to-earn game utilizing NFTs. That means you have to own this orc in order to be able to go in and play the game. Essentially, you authenticate with your wallet, then you can play the game. You can stake your orc for a token called Zug, and then you can use your Zug to do other things in the ecosystem. The orcs is kind of a funny group because they bond over this kind of the orc nature, like Zug, sounds kind of like an orcish theme. So tons of orc themes embedded in that community that makes it kind of like a fun community. Royal, I don't know if anyone's heard of Royal. Join Royal on Twitter. Royal is a music NFT platform, and it's our first transformational use case for NFTs because essentially Royal allows you to release your music directly to your fans. So rather than trying to go, I don't know, the Spotify music route, or it's basically mint NFTs of new songs and then sell them directly to your fans with specific benefits. And the royalty share is shared with the owners of the songs. You can essentially buy an NFT, a music NFT, and then you can get royalties on that song for the duration in which you own the NFT. So I would say this is a transformational use case because you cut out the middleman. And in the music industry, going straight to your fans, sharing royalties with owners, it just feels like this is probably a pretty good solution for artists and musicians. And, there's still art associated with it. They have community of musicians, artists, producers. So definitely you should check out Royal, join Royal. OK Bears is probably the most popular NFT on the Solana ecosystem. There are a couple different blockchains, Ethereum, Solana. I'm pretty deep on internet computer blockchain. This is probably the most popular NFT on Solana, at least in the recent months. I know that they have good art, and I know that they have a solid community promoting mental health. All around the it's okay, it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to talk about it. I haven't seen anything else though. I haven't seen any benefits. I haven't seen any like real world use cases yet. No transformational use case, which I mean is pretty common for an NFT project to not have most of these utility aspects. Doodles is another fun one. Doodles is kind of iconic in their nice selection of pastel colors and really creative artwork. Similar to the others like Pixel Vault and Bored Apes, where you have, really good art, access to fun in real life events. I think Doodles is probably the best example of a really crazy, unique in real life event. Just imagine these colors all over the walls everywhere with all sorts of stuff going on. It seemed like a really fun looking event to me, at least. Okay, a POAP. A POAP is a proof of access NFT. So you can go to an event and it can issue you an NFT that is proof that you actually attended the event. So this is a pretty cool use case. Lots of people using it to just assert, I've been to these different conferences or these different venues, which I wouldn't say is transformational, but it is really interesting still that you can have benefits related to that. Let's see what else I had. Matoko, these cute little flying creatures. Again, pretty typical. Most NFT use cases, and like Harris was saying, they don't reach all the way to the transformational use case. Okay, Loot is the last one I wanted to talk about. I think, yeah. Loot, they basically just created a collection of these random text items on a black box, and that's it. And then people went crazy adding to the lore, adding to the community. So they saw this Skull Peak linen robe of reflection and they thought, ooh, that's cool, I'm going to draw it. And so they drew it. And then the community was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And then they essentially the community built out a loot universe of sorts, where they illustrated all of these things. They made a way for you to split this up into the different items and recombine them in different ways. Basically ways you could equip these onto some sort of hero in a game. So Loot was very much a grassroots community driven project that made it really, really interesting. Maybe you could call it transformational, like crowdsourcing game creation, community creation, but maybe not. So those were the projects I wanted to highlight. Sally-Ann, I don't know if you were imagining breakout rooms or what.
Yeah, but listen, I actually have, after you have spoken, I really actually have a really good breakout room before we go into one of your breakout rooms.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, so for everyone on here, why don't we do 3 breakout rooms, Naima and team, and let's use Bob's framework of art, community, benefits, use and transform. And I'm going to use this as our GLEAC, Bob. Let's hear what our community has to say about the GLEAC utility NFT that we plan to launch. Can you, just a brief share on our NFT project? So we are going to be setting up NFTs of our mentors, either individually or in groups. And you can block 5 hours of their time during the year. And in blocking 5 hours of their time, you can choose to have private conversations with some of these industry experts, or you can choose to create content together. Now, I want you to think about that, and I want you to use Bob's framework of art, community, benefits, use, and transform, and come back we're going to give you maybe 8 minutes, and then we'll use one of your use cases, Bob, or we might just go through what some of these are. Why don't you go into breakout rooms and let's see where you can fit. Where do you find that type of utility NFT? How does it touch on those 5 layers, or does it? So that's the actual breakout room I would like to have, Bob. Sorry for taking away your breakout room, but I saw the opportunity here. You gave such a...
I think it's a perfect breakout room discussion. So
yeah. So all of you many of you here are mentors in the community. So Naima or Jawad, could you please send everyone into 3 breakout rooms? And remember those words: art, community, benefits, use, and transform. And how would a mentor marketplace NFT, which ones does it touch on, and how does it touch on these different areas? So let's go. 8 minutes. Okay, you are back. You are back. All right. So we had 3 breakout rooms. Who is going to present art, community, benefits, use, transform? Who's going to present for their groups? Come on, don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Sally, we had Bob and Naima and myself on the team, so like we.
Yeah, you guys were in one group, but we had 3 groups, right? So who was in group 1? Which group were you in, Bob?
I was in the same
Who
group.
was in the group with Bob? Who was in the group with Bob? Other than the team, Who was in the room with Bob? Don't be shy.
I was here.
Okay, Vakas, let's go. Let's hear. Art, community, benefits, use and transform. And the other 2, just because of in time, why don't you type in chat, art, community, benefits, use, and transform. Let's get your feedback. So Vakas, are you comfortable going?
Sure, I'll just give my feedback, what I did in the breakout room as well. My point was that I would go for benefits to holders, because I see NFTs making progress and giving value to the users. More important than actual art. I mean, this can be just my view, but I feel having utility to the user is more important. And I gave the example that I have an access to a group of developers where we verify through NFT. So I would like something similar here as well, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. What about Bob? Why don't you, does anyone else want to go? Absolutely want to go, and before I give Bob the opportunity to share, since he is our guest host. Anyone else wants to go? No? All right, Bob, you're up. Let's hear it. I can't wait. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I shared a little bit of my thoughts already, and then is it Mirna? She said that I just don't know enough about the project, and as soon as I knew more, then I changed my review.
I said I can't share more. Not.
Yeah. Okay, so Bob, let's hear your baseline, just knowing that basic stuff, since we can't give up all the secrets. Let's hear.
Yeah, so generally, like, I've been wanting to, I meet a lot of people all the time, and it's hard to manage and hard to monetize. But an NFT based model for time sharing, I think, is a transformational use case of NFTs, because it just makes sense. Anyone can own an NFT, and if you own one, then you get access to certain blocks of my time or anyone's time. And if you decide you don't want it anymore, then you can just go and sell it to someone who does want it. And you can have a limited number. You can time box how much time you spend on something like that. It feels like it's a better solution than currently exists in the market in terms of like time monetization. Sure, there might be other kinds of single platforms that try to do something like this, but when you do it on the blockchain, you have the open, permissionless, trustless kind of environment that lets you do have more interoperability. So you could even double use the NFTs. You know, you could have them in the GLEAC community, but someone else could decide that they want to honor those NFTs as well and bake them into another product. So I would argue that it's touching on the transformational use case. And then Mirna was like, oh no, it's definitely transformational once you learn all the awesome things we have in store. And I don't doubt it.
All right, Haris, thank you for that, Bob. Haris, what do you have to say? I'm interested, Bob, in terms of what you think about art when it comes to art in this type of NFT. But Bob, Haris, let's have your feedback.
I just have one question.
Somebody else is on. Can you mute, please? I'm hearing someone else chatting somewhere. Okay, cool. Haris, please keep going.
I just have one small question. Bob said, if let's say I bought the NFT, but I don't really want to try and I just want to sell it off again. And we have something where we've got a project like Bodily, very highly priced NFTs, and nobody really wants to buy into those projects anymore because obviously because of the price. What's to stop you from starting another project? Like, so GLEAC starts another project and sells those NFTs for the same benefit. So, I mean, is there exclusivity involved?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to get into that.
That's the whole point, right? In terms of the value, there's limited access. So absolutely wonderful. Bob, what do you think about? So I'm a big fan in what's the rapper that has that video NFT as his art? What's his name again? He has the cooking show with Martha Stewart. You know who I'm talking about, guys? What's his name? Snoop Dogg. I'm like the biggest fan of like Snoop Dogg's video, and I was like, that's good art. So Bob, super curious, what is your thought about art in this kind of NFT?
Yeah, honestly, I put art as the base layer because I think all NFTs should have an art component.
Absolutely.
I think NFTs deserve to look beautiful and draw people into the community. I think it's part of expressing our digital identity is like, I want to show off, you know, I have this thing and look at how cool it is and look at what it does. And so that's why it's, you know, that's why it's the primary need on the Maslow's hierarchy of NFT utility.
Yeah. And who are some of why don't you share with us, who are some of the designers or artists out there that you truly respect or in this space for anyone who's on here?
Yeah, I mean, one, I'm a data engineer by trade, so before my blockchain life, and so I really like this. This isn't a person. In fact, the artists in the room might throw tomatoes at me, but Dolly 2 is an AI model, and you give it a description, and it will generate the image that matches your description.
Yeah, isn't that in beta though, or is that open right now?
It's beta. And I don't have beta access yet. It's killing me.
Yeah, can I tell you, I know a couple of people who have beta access and they keep sending me stuff on WhatsApp, and I'm just like, and they put the random stuff, tomato on a cow or tomato cowboy, and you know, all kinds of cool images. So yes, I can hook you up, Bob, to who has beta access to that.
Yeah, I would love it. So that's not a person, you know, it's an AI model, but it is really, really good. Probably, you know, 10x better than other models that try to do a similar thing. Yeah. But yeah, I have you know, real people artists that I love too.
Yeah, and who are they? Give us some of your favorite artists that are out there.
Let's see. The Bored Apes artist Seneca. She does a lot of really good work. I also like John Ball. John Ball is lesser known, except in the internet computer ecosystem. He's done a lot of really good art. Yeah. He has like a robot and a little pet bot collection. These little, like, you know, Game Boy and 64 kinds of controller robots. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So everyone, let's show Bob how we felt about his presentation. This means he was okay. This means he was good. This means he knocked it out of the park. Can we please show Bob how he did today?
Oh, you guys are so nice.
Yes, look at that, Bob. Thank you.
How I felt about your community participation.
Yes.